Are you looking for opportunities to study politics and public policy in Washington, D.C. next summer? I'm Emily Burden-Reese, the Associate Director at the Hertog Foundation, and I'm here to give you an overview of our Summer 2025 fellowships and share some tips for submitting a competitive application. All Summer 2025 fellowships take place in person in Washington, D.C. As a Hertog Fellow, we provide you with a full scholarship, residential accommodations, and a stipend. We offer 4 summer residential programs: political studies, constitutional studies, security studies, and war studies. These fellowships vary in duration. Some run for most of the summer, while others are just 1 week. While the fellowships are ongoing, you cannot work or intern because it is a full-time obligation. Before you apply, confirm that you can make the session dates for your preferred fellowship.
Political Studies is our flagship program that brings together 32 undergraduates and recent grads to Washington, D.C. for a 6-week fellowship on the theory and practice of politics. Guided by outstanding faculty, mornings are devoted to in-depth seminars on foundational thinkers such as Plato, Xenophon, Shakespeare, Tocqueville, and Lincoln. All political studies fellows begin their residence at Hertog with a close reading of Plato's Gorgias and the question of virtue and power. For the rest of the 5 weeks, fellows get to choose between one of 2 courses on offer, tailoring their studies to their interests. Afternoons and evenings feature guest speakers, policymakers, journalists, and elected officials who provide real-world perspectives on leadership and governance. Last summer's Political Studies Fellows heard from former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senator Tom Cotton, Representative Virginia Foxx, and policy expert Reihan Salam. Future attorneys, judges, and legal scholars should apply to our 2-week Constitutional Studies program. Led by expert Adam White, 20 fellows will spend their mornings discussing the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, and landmark Supreme Court cases. In the afternoons, they will gain insights from prominent judges, legal scholars, and Supreme Court advocates who bring firsthand knowledge of law at the highest levels. Last summer's guests included 6th Circuit Judge Amul Thapar, legal analyst Sarah Isker, and historian Richard Brookhiser. Advanced undergraduates, recent grads, and first-year law students are all eligible for constitutional studies.
Aspiring intelligence analysts, foreign policy wonks, and national security experts should apply to our Security Studies program. Security Studies Fellows immerse themselves in Washington, D.C. for 1 to 4 weeks, delving into power, geography, and statesmanship. Alongside students and young professionals from around the world, you'll learn from strategists, experts, and elected officials who will share insight into national security policy, including former CENTCOM Commander General Kenneth McKenzie. You might be asking, can I apply to all of these seminars? The answer is yes. Candidates can apply to the full suite of security studies courses or a single seminar, depending on what best fits their interests and availability. Our War Studies program offers a crash course in military decision-making. Run by the Institute for the Study of War, fellows learn from ISW's founder and president, Dr. Kimberly Kagan, and her husband, military historian and policy expert, Dr. Frederick Kagan. War Studies Fellows participate in intensive seminars, take a staff ride to Gettysburg, and hear from senior military leaders. For Political Studies, Security Studies, and Constitutional Studies, you can apply by January 13th for an early decision deadline and secure your summer plans before the spring. Remember that we review on a rolling basis, so the sooner you get your application in, the better your chance of being placed in your first choice program and of being selected at all. Our final deadline for all summer fellowships is February 24th. This is the only deadline for War Studies. International applicants with full professional proficiency in English are eligible to apply. Please note that we do not help with visa applications. We have 1 application for all fellowship programs. If you want to apply to more than 1 program, simply rank your choices, and because we take those preferences into account. You can't save the application and return to it, so make sure you have all of your materials saved before exiting the application. The application is available on our website and contains a few components: some basic personal, professional, and educational information, a CV or resume, an unofficial transcript for current students or recent graduates, a personal statement, a writing sample, and a letter of recommendation. Your personal statement should be no more than 1,000 words, and your writing sample should be no more than 12 pages. If you apply to war studies, your writing sample should be no more than 20 pages.
The most important part of your application is your statement of purpose, so you should spend some time on this. Successful statements give us a sense of the ideas, texts, and questions that most interest you. Ask yourself, what about me and my cast of mind is missing from my resume? Then tell us that. Your statement of purpose is the part we tend to read first. For your writing sample, we want to see your very best writing and the way you create, develop, and sustain persuasive arguments. We're not interested in length as its own virtue. If your best paper is a 5-page close analysis of reason and passion in Lincoln's Lyceum address, send us that. We also accept writing across the curriculum. Send us your English, theology, and history papers, even if they're not directly relevant to the fellowship you're applying for. War Studies applications are incomplete without 2 letters of recommendation. Make sure your recommenders submit these by the final deadline to be considered. If not applying to War Studies, the requirements for references and letters of recommendation are different with respect to the kind of applicant you are. If you receive an email from Hertog informing you that you were nominated, your nomination counts as your letter of recommendation. Just list your nominator as your reference. Applicants who were not nominated will need to submit 1 letter as part of the application. This handy chart you see before you is also available on the website, and if you have questions about your references, just let us know. After you apply, you'll be notified if you've made it to the finalist round. At that point, the program manager will invite you to schedule an interview with a Hertog staff member. The interviews take about 20 to 30 minutes. I hope you'll consider applying to the Hertog Foundation's summer programs. We have a great lineup of courses for fellows this summer. To apply today or learn more, visit our website at hertogfoundation.org. Good luck!